What is going on? This is Cody, and you are tuned in to B-Boy 45, broadcasting from the Seacrest Studios here at Children's Hospital, Colorado. And it is Monday afternoon. It is time for the latest news to keep you in the groove, but it's not just a regular latest news to keep you in the groove. Maya, what's special about today's show?
James Marsden is calling in.
James Marsden, yay! What's up? How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great now that I'm chatting with you all. How are you all?
Oh, even better now that we're talking with you. Maya,
great.
Take it away, girl.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say again, thank you so much for calling in. I cannot believe I'm talking with you right now. Like, this is surreal, so thank you.
Oh, that is so nice of you to say, and I feel the exact same way getting to sit here and chat with you. You're just such a wonderful human being, and I've been looking forward to this moment, and I'm excited to be sitting here chatting with you.
Thank you. So my first question for you is, who or what was your inspiration to become an actor?
Oh, that's a great question. When I was in junior high school, it was like, I think I was 14 years old. I was looking for an elective class that would be easy to get my grades up. So I took drama was an option to do musicals and plays and things like that. And so I took and I had to do a one-act play, and I got up and did a monologue, and I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, and I didn't know that I could do it. I was just sort of trying to get my grades up, and then I discovered this sort of internal love for performing, being on stage and moving people, and whether it be laughter or making somebody feel things. I just loved that language, I guess. And then before that, I was always a mimic. I always loved doing impersonations. I used to love trying to do different accents. I wanted to be a regular on Saturday Night Live was what I really wanted to do. Although when I grew up in Oklahoma, I decided to move to Los Angeles and not New York for a variety of reasons. But yeah, I thought being a cast member on Saturday Night Live would be the coolest thing in the world, because you get to play so many different characters. So people like Jim Carrey, or even like Mike Myers and all the Saturday Night Live people, Dana Carvey, all these people who just did great impressions and things like that. That was, those are the people who kind of inspired me to want to do comedy. And then beyond that, it was Paul Newman was always a favorite of mine. I always loved his film career. He always managed to balance comedy mixed with drama and could do it all. And he seemed like a good person with a good, his feet on the ground with his family too, which inspired me as well.
Oh, cool. So you've been in so many different things and all sorts of genres. Sorry. From musicals to comedy to rom-coms and science fiction. Do you have a favorite genre to star in?
That's a tough question. I really don't. I think one of the great things about, or at least one of the things that I enjoy the most about performing and about being an actor, is that if you're lucky, you get afforded the opportunity to play different characters in different roles in different genres. And I think that's what I've tried to do over the course of my career. I didn't think I'd be sitting here almost 30 years later chatting with you. I thought, well, maybe I'll be an actor for a year and a half and then have to figure out doing something else with my life. But it worked out. And so I guess, at my core, I always gravitate towards comedies. I find it just so much more fun to wake up and get to play that way, to have the goal of making somebody smile or making somebody laugh is always just a good feeling. Sometimes when dramas are very challenging and they can be very rewarding as well. But hearing somebody laugh, either because of a joke you said or laugh at you, which is for me more frequently the case. It's just a good feeling. I love the idea that what we do as actors can bring joy to people, so I think comedy is where I kind of skew. Although I really love the challenges of dramatic acting as well. But I guess I don't know. I wouldn't say like just romantic comedies, but just anything with the sort of a comedic element to it is attractive to me.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So of all the roles you've played, have you had a favorite moment or memory while filming?
That's another great question. And I have several. I remember doing the first Enchanted movie for Disney. And one of the very first days of filming, I'm wearing this kind of ridiculous prince costume with these giant puffy sleeves and tights, and I'm swinging a sword. And we filmed it in Times Square in New York City. And of course, you can't really shut down Times Square. So I was there amongst tourists and everybody, whoever was on the street that day. And I was on top of a bus. I was tethered in for safety, and I was swinging my sword, riding on top of a bus for all of New York City to see. And so it was like, what do I do for a living? This is crazy. But it was also exhilarating and so much fun, because it was like, what other occupation or career would allow you to do such a fun thing? So that was one of my my memories when I did the first X-Men movies. The first day of filming, we had to put on all our leather suits, and the leather suits were really too tight, and there was no flexibility in them. And there was a scene where me and Hugh Jackman and Halle Berry and Famke Janssen had to kind of vault over this little wall at the bottom of the Statue of Liberty. And none of us we're playing superheroes, and none of us could get over like a 2.5-foot wall with these costumes. We were falling over this wall in our black leather costumes, just feeling not anywhere close to superheroes. So I guess I look back at the kind of funny moments, but there's been some really great. I've had so many great moments. Hairspray was such a fun movie because I got to sing, and it was a musical, and it was just a blast with that one. But it's hard to pick my favorite moment, I guess.
Oh, I love that. So my next question is actually, you played Corny Collins in Hairspray and Prince Edward in Enchanted, and I love both of those movies so much. What is the biggest challenge of being in a musical?
Well, I think the biggest challenge for being in a musical is having to do more than just one thing at the same time. I think when I think about other films that I've done, like 27 Dresses or The Notebook or X-Men, or it's you're all you're supposed to be doing is sharing dialogue with somebody, right? You're acting opposite somebody else. In a musical, the camera's pointed at you, so you have to look like you know what you're doing. You have to be dancing, you have to be singing and acting and all of it, and hitting your marks. As actors, you have to hit these little pieces of tape on the floor, so the camera can focus on you. And so you're kind of you're patting your head and rubbing your stomach all at the same time, and still trying to not mess up. So you don't want to miss a move and then throw the rest of the chorus off, everyone behind you. So I found that a tricky thing, you're singing, you're dancing, you're acting all at the same time. But it was such a joyous experience. There was not a person on that stage who didn't just jump out of bed in the morning to like run to set to be there. It was just like, I don't know. It's everyone, like from John Travolta to Michelle Pfeiffer to Christopher Walken to everybody that was there. It was just like this, just beautiful energy on set. So we were very supportive of one another. So you could mess up and it was okay. You could hit a bad note and that was fine. But I think that's the challenge is I was never classically trained as a dancer or a singer. I was, I learned to sing in high school a little bit through choir and things like that. But, I'm there with like real professionals. And so that was a little like, ugh. So I can't imagine how people do it in front of a live audience, right? Like because for me, I had a safety net, right? If it messed up, they'd yell cut and we'd start over. Or if it wasn't good, they would cut that part out of the movie. On stage, 8 shows a week is just beyond me. I can't fathom how people do that, but I do want to do that someday, an actual Broadway musical.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Did you have a favorite song from each of the movies?
Yes. Let's see. So I loved in Hairspray, there's so many because Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman are just such brilliant songwriters. I think my favorites were Nicest Kids in Town. You mean ones that I'm performing or just in the whole movie?
Either.
Okay. Well, I would say Run and Tell That is one of my favorites. You Can't Stop the Beat is, I think, that takes the cake. It's sort of the number one overall song, I think. But those are my 2 favorites in Hairspray, Run and Tell That and You Can't Stop the Beat. And then I like Nicest Kids in Town as well, but I'm biased because I'm singing it. And then in Enchanted, I think Happy Working Song is just so clever and cute. And Amy's conviction and commitment to the character and her innocence is just so pure. I love her singing Happy Working Song. But I also love our sort of small duet at the beginning is True Love's Kiss, because I get to sing it throughout the movie, even if I'm getting run over by bicycles. He's trying to sing it. But there's so many good ones in that one as well. The waltz at the end is really beautiful, where Robert and Giselle dance for the first time, sung by John McLaughlin. Beautiful song called So Close. Really, really beautiful ballad.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Okay. Just really quickly, you had mentioned Broadway. And so do you have like a favorite Broadway musical or play?
Great question. There's so many. I don't know which. I've flirted with the idea of doing Broadway for a long time, but I had 3 young children and they all lived in Los Angeles. We all lived in Los Angeles, and it was, it's a big commitment to go do a show for 8 shows a week and for a year of your life. And it was tough to, I didn't want to take them away from their friends and everything. So but now they're older and most of them are older. And so I'm entertaining it more, but, boy, what are some great ones? I mean, like I loved the Producers when that came out. I loved. There was a moment where we were talking about doing Pal Joey, which is like because I'm a big Frank Sinatra fan, and Rodgers and Hart are some of my favorites, all great songwriters. And that's a book that I think could maybe get updated a bit, and that would be fun. Why am I blanking? I mean, like, of course, my mind just goes to Hamilton because it's been I have a 9-year-old boy and he's obsessed with it. So anytime we get in the car, the Hamilton soundtrack comes on. And now I know, just because of him, every song in the musical. So that could be fun to come in and do the King. That would be a lot of fun. But gosh, there's so many. I mean, even if it's like a revival of Chicago or Cabaret or something like that. Something to get my feet wet for a few months. And because I would want to go off Broadway where no one would see it first. So I could get out the cobwebs and kind of, mess up and without all the expectations, and then get myself ready for doing something big.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm obsessed with Broadway and musicals, and so I always joke that I want life to be a mix of a musical and a rom-com, because those are my favorite types of
Well,
movies.
let me know if I can help with that, because those are two genres that I love just as much as you do. I really do. And I would like nothing more than I don't feel like I get to use my musical abilities as much as I want to, even though I've had the good fortune of being able to be in films like Hairspray and Enchanted, and I'm doing a little singing in this new season of Dead to Me on Netflix. I do a little bit of singing, kind of in a funny way, but I've always wanted to really utilize that talent more, because it's just so rewarding. I love it. I love to sing. I love to sing with people. And so I hope that very soon I'll find some sort of musical that will have me and I'd be a part of. And also, I think you're right. I think we need to resurrect the romantic comedy. I don't think they make them anymore.
Yeah.
And we need more of them.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. Those are, some of my favorite types of movies. Like, they just feel good.
Yeah, me too. Well, you mentioned some of my favorite film moments that I was in. There's in 27 Dresses with Katherine Heigl, when we get on the bar and sing Benny and the Jets, was also like one of my most memorable and favorite moments as an actor, because it was just, sometimes when you're an actor, you're overly aware of the lines and what's on the page, and you think so technically. But when you have, like, we had just great fun chemistry, she and I did, and we just had a blast every day on set. So when it comes that naturally, it's just, there's nothing better when the cameras roll, when you can just genuinely have a great time together. And that was what that was in that scene.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that. Yeah. So, you just reprised your role of Prince Edward in Disenchanted. What was the best part of becoming Prince Edward again after so many years?
The best part about becoming Prince Edward again is that I got to be Prince Edward again. For the longest time, I didn't think it was going to happen. 15 years is a long time to wait to do a sequel. But I think the stars kind of aligned finally, and Amy was available and ready, and so was Patrick, and Adina finally had this brilliant, brilliant song that she gets to sing. She didn't sing in the first movie, which is crazy to me. So I think it was the most fun part was just seeing everybody again. It was such a nice family. It was, again, like Hairspray was. It was just this like smile fest. It was just this joy fest where everyone was just being silly and having a great time and enjoying the process and feeling really proud of the work. So to see everybody again was like this beautiful reunion. And then to put the suit back on, and something happens to me when I put those ridiculous Disney Prince suits on. It's like somebody plugs me into a wall socket and I just light up with electricity. It's just so much fun. There's nothing like, you can't go too big with this character. and I just have so much fun with him, and I love so I guess just revisiting Prince Edward and just being able to be with abandon, just to be able to go for it, and he's just somebody who loves the sound of his own voice and loves being in love. And if he can sing every line, every statement to somebody, he would. I'm like, boy, he's just got to be the happiest man in the world. And it's a lot of fun to step back into those shoes because of that.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. So you guest starred in two of the funniest sitcoms, 30 Rock and Modern Family. What were those experiences like?
Oh, they were great. They were it was really wonderful. Like I said, I love doing comedy. So when Tina Fey had asked if I would be interested in coming and playing her, at the time, her boyfriend on the show. Of course, as an actor, we're all kind of somewhat insecure. And it's like, oh, didn't Matt Damon just play your boyfriend? And didn't John Hamm just play your boyfriend? And I thought, oh, I'm going to mess this up somehow. And I thought, no, you just go have fun. Just have fun. And it was a recurring role. And he was kind of a dopey but lovable puppy dog of a guy. And but he loved her. He just thought she was the greatest thing in the world. And so it was a fun experience. I did it for one season. I thought it was going to be done. And then they asked me to come back for the very last season. And I thought, wow, I guess it worked. I didn't think it was going to work. And I said, is it working? Is the thing with, my character and Tina working? And Robert Carlock, the producer, said, absolutely. It's so great. It's working so well. We're going to have you get married. I went, wow. Okay, cool. I'm in. So that was great. I mean, the writing on that show is just top notch and just brilliant. That's the real star of the show, I think, is just the dialogue. And then Modern Family, same, just the sharpest minds in the business and constructing the most clever jokes. So, you as an actor stepping onto the set of Modern Family, you get to benefit from it because it makes you look good. When you have incredible dialogue and really, really funny jokes. And they said, hey, would you want to come in and do Modern Family? I said, what's the role? And they said, it's a guy who's, he's like a Reiki master, like a massage Reiki master that Cam and his boyfriend take in. And they discover that he's a squatter who's been living in their daughter's princess castle in the backyard. And I'm like, that's great. Sign me up. The more sort of like fun, weird, strange, cuckoo kind of character, I thought, I'm in. So that was another one where it was like, it was so bizarre. The character, it just made me laugh. I have to have that part of it. If I have to read the role, and it's got to make me laugh for me to really want to get excited about it. And that was one of those experiences on Modern Family.
Oh, cool. So you played both Steve and Ben Wood in Dead to Me, and I loved that show. My family and I just were obsessed with it.
Thank you.
Did you have a favorite episode to film?
Yeah, there were several. That's another experience where Liz Feldman, who is the showrunner and the creator of the show, comes from improv, comes from Groundlings, and her mind is so quick and her observations about human behavior are so astute and so funny that I just wanted to be in that world. So I signed on for the first season, and that was it. I was just going to do the first season, and it was playing Steve. And spoiler alert, Steve doesn't make it to the season 2. But I fell in love with that set and those women, and Christina and Linda and Liz and Jessica Elbaum and everyone involved. I was like, that was so much fun. Is he really dead? Can we figure something out? And Liz started thinking like, hey, what if you got have a twin brother? And I went, oh, well, that's pretty bold, because it starts to feel like you're, a little soapy, but it actually really worked. So she just created this character that was completely different than Steve. And Ben was just this sweetheart who was kind of goofy and not really, didn't have that much confidence in himself. But Christina's character was attracted to him because of that. So my favorite scenes, boy, man, that's a tough one. What is my favorite scenes in Dead to Me? I mean, really, I just think of Ben and all his goofy, anytime he's trying to be funny and it's not, and like just watching him fail and trying to be charming or try to be funny. To me, that's just my favorite stuff. There's a scene where I show up at his, in the new season. I don't want to ruin anything about the new season in case not everybody's seen it, but it's post car accident from the second season. And I'm talking to her son as if everything's normal. And I'm just, hey, buddy, how you doing? Is your mom home? And I have like a little bit of blood streaming down my nose. And so I don't know, that was kind of fun. There's another scene where he's singing another song at a karaoke party. And that was a lot of fun to play. And then my heart breaks for him because he is such a sweetheart and he does have very little self-esteem. And there's moments where he kind of breaks down thinking about his brother, thinking about his love for Jen, Christina's character. And it's really sweet. And I loved those moments because they challenged me as an actor to really kind of dig deep and feel what this guy is feeling. And, it's nice. It's nice that it's not just all laughs and all comedy. There's moments for, genuine emotion to kind of come out. And so I got to play a little bit more of that this season, which was very rewarding too.
Oh, I love that's so cool. I love that. Yeah, I just my family and I just loved the show, and I think we watched the final season in like 2 days.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We just
that's
it all.
Yeah, because you can binge watch them, can't you? Yeah, 2 days. That sounds like a record. My goodness. Well, that's really, really sweet of you to say, and very nice. And it makes me very proud knowing that you like the show as much as you do. And I'm very proud to be a part of it. That's why I do what I do.
Cool. So of all the movies and shows that you've been in, has there been one scene that stands out as particularly challenging to film?
There was a scene that I did in Westworld with Anthony Hopkins, and I had to switch between being in diagnostic mode, where I was just kind of like just a blank robot, and switch between being Teddy, the character that I play. And that was challenging to me because not only am I having to define the two characters very specifically at the same time, go back and forth, right? Like on Dead to Me, it's like Steve was season 1, Ben was season 2 and 3. This was like in the middle of a scene, I'm having to switch characters and make it believable in this very, very ambitious and heavily, very deeply themed show. And then to compound that tricky thing as an actor, you're sitting opposite Anthony Hopkins. Mm-hmm. So it was like, I remember it feeling like, did I lose a bet? like, hey, if you lose this bet, you have to do a scene where you play 3 different characters and you have to be brilliant and you have to be doing it opposite Anthony Hopkins, who's going to not going to judge you, but it's going to feel like he's judging you. And actually, he was just the warmest, kindest person who just created a very soft, safe place for me to land if I messed up. But I remember going to work that day thinking, okay, this is it. My career's either going to continue or it's going to be over. Right now, this is it. So roll camera and let's see what you got. So that was, I remember that being very challenging because it was also very nuanced. It was the shifts in character. They didn't want to be, extreme. They wanted just sort of nuanced changes. And I'm kind of a mimic. I grew up just, like I said, watching Saturday Night Live and kind of emulating other people. I was never like classically trained as an actor. So I was like, oh, this is the scene where everyone's going to figure out that I'm a fraud. But in the right hands with the right dialogue, Jonah Nolan and Lisa Joy, who created that show, and being their opposite Anthony Hopkins that all just helped everything, right? It was, as an actor, you want to be in an environment where you feel safe to fail, right? To make a mistake, because you have to have that. You can't go into the scenes like this. You have to go into it like this. You have to be able to try things. And So I've been very fortunate to work with very good people who encourage that.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. So I just have a few more questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it. I've got all day.
Is there a character you played that was difficult for you to say goodbye to?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, boy, honestly, I have a hard time saying goodbye to most of my characters because I really do. The last thing I want to ever do is phone it in. And that requires creating a relationship with the character that you're playing. And the longer you stay with that character, the harder it is to let it go. Mm-hmm. So I would guess, boy, I mean, X-Men was a tough thing to say goodbye to because it was such an iconic character that people loved from the comic books. And it was the first thing that really put me on the map, that people, saw me. And it was such a global international success that I would walk down the street and people would say, Cyclops, and can we get a picture? And still do. So saying goodbye to that, not the character itself, but also that group of people and that franchise, I guess. Well, that was a tough one. Really hard to say goodbye to Teddy on Westworld. That was tough because we wanted to go one more season and really wrap it up the right way that we wanted to, and we didn't get to. So that was a little disappointing. And I was playing that character, and Evan Rachel Wood was playing Dolores since 2014, I think, or 2015. So it was with us for a very, very long time. And there was a love affair there with the characters that you just didn't want to see go away. And then, of course, the Dead to Me characters as well. I grew really, really, really close to them. And I think my favorite character, though, of my whole career is probably Prince Edward. And I was very happy to come back and play him again because I just get so much joy out of, like I said, putting that costume on and singing those songs and playing that character. And I didn't think it was going to happen for a long time, and we finally did it. And they only had me because of scheduling for like 2 weeks, so I wasn't able to do as much in the movie as I wanted to. But that's, I think, my favorite character that I play. It was the role that I read and I went, I know exactly how to play this, and I've never felt that level of confidence with any other role. That was one that just sort of like, I know this guy, I know how to do it. Just let's go, roll camera. And I love his optimism, and I love how sort of dopey he is. But I don't know. It's just such a fun character to play. I want to live in his world. I want to think like he does.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. My family and I just, after every time we watch Enchanted, we are like singing the songs, and like for weeks after, it's just, they're stuck in our head.
Yeah, they're beautiful songs, aren't they? With Alan Menken wrote the music for The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast. I mean, it's like Hunchback of Notre Dame, and like all these brilliant Disney classics, and Stephen Schwartz with the lyrics, and just incredible songs. And that the fact that they can just create that, and that there's still melodies out there to be found is astonishing to me. But yeah, really, I love the purity. I love the earnestness of the movie. There's a lot of cynical comedies out there nowadays, and there's just something really sweet and good and pure about how earnest the Enchanted movies are. And yeah. I don't think we see those enough anymore. I think we need that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? It was
great.
tough to say goodbye to Corny Collins too.
Oh.
I got pretty good at dancing during that movie, but just enough to make me obsessed about becoming like training as a dancer. So when I left the movie, I asked Ann Fletcher, who was one of the choreographers who then directed 27 Dresses, little trivia there. I said, are there any dance classes back in Los Angeles where I can just keep doing this? Because I realized how good this feels to be able to what am I trying to say? Express yourself this way physically. And anyway, so I started to look for dance classes back in Los Angeles to keep that going because I just loved it so much. I loved how it felt. Anyway, so it was tough to say goodbye to Corny Collins too.
Yeah. So what is the most interesting thing that you've read about yourself that isn't true?
Well, this was a long time ago. I think this was like right around when the internet started. This is really dating me now, but there was a rumor going around that I don't actually have blue eyes, that I wear blue contacts. That is such an interesting rumor. I have no idea where that came from, and my eyes are blue, but whatever. There was a rumor going around that I would wear colored contacts.
Yeah. One of my like favorite quotes I've read is something saying like someone saying that they love rumors because they always find out like the most interesting things about themselves that they never knew. And so I was like, yeah.
Right. Yeah, wow. I didn't know that I had brown eyes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, some of the rumors, yeah, I guess maybe if there's truth to them, maybe sometimes there's like, wow, I didn't know I did that or said that or was doing that. But yeah. And sometimes if they gain enough traction, they just become truth, right? Like people just believe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've been very lucky to kind of avoided that whole rumor mill thing. I don't really have too many rumors about me out there, which is, I don't know if that's good or bad. Does that make me boring?
No, I think that's good.
Yeah. There was one where, my rumors are like James Marsden's cast as the next blah, blah superhero. I'm like, I don't think so. I'd know. There's a lot of chatter out there about, the MCU universe and the Marvel universe and all of that. And he's coming back or they're doing this. And, but yeah, I just try to ignore it and like, just go about my business.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to be able to do.
I agree. I think that's a good thing to exercise these days, of just tuning out. If things get negative or they get gossipy, you don't have to listen to it. You can just go about your life and your day and choose to be happy. And as long as you know what's good and what's in your heart, and the people who know you, know what's there, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I agree. So is there a certain line from a movie, show, song, or book that has always stuck with you and inspires you? Well,
my favorite movies are ones that I've seen the most and just inspired me to want to be an actor, but also just love movies. And a lot of them are when I was young, like Jaws and Star Wars and things like that. So I was a big Star Wars fan growing up. So of course my mind goes to like, we're going to need a bigger boat in Jaws, or The force will be with you always. But those are so obvious. I'm trying to get a little more clever. Boy, what's the big famous line in It's a Wonderful Life? I love that movie so much. And coming up on Christmas time, it just makes me think of, yes, I get to watch that movie soon. They're not a specific line from that movie, but I just love how profound that movie is still, that we should just embrace goodness and this life that we have. And I don't know. I just think that movie is just so wonderful. But I'm trying to think of a favorite line, not one that I deliver, right? Just in film history.
Yeah.
Favorite line. I mean, boy, that's hard. Why is that so hard? So difficult. I'm drawing a blank now. I guess I'd have to go with some sort of Star Wars thing. I mean, I'll miss you most of all, Scarecrow, for the Wizard of Oz.
I like that.
What's that?
I like that one.
Okay, let's stick with that. Everyone wanted to be the Scarecrow in that moment. Yeah. But when I think about God, that moment, that's another movie I've seen so many times, and it's just how magical it is. And that was 1937 or 38. I think they made that film, and another one that's just still so profound. That or There's No Place Like Home. I'm going to go with that too.
Oh yeah.
There's no place like home.
Yeah. I like those.
Yeah, we'll stick with those.
Cool. So my last question for you is, who do you consider to be a real life superhero and why?
Real life superhero and why? I would say my daughter. I would say my daughter, Stevie. And how do I do this without getting too personal? I'll say that she'd been through a couple of years of some challenges, and there were moments where she didn't think she was gonna be able to participate in everything kids her age would be participating in, and she just found this inner strength and this confidence, and I just witnessed before my eyes just her blossom into this super smart, confident, loving, affectionate, funny, so funny person. And she never thought, I always knew it was there. She didn't see it, and she had to grow into that. And I just thought it was such a beautiful thing to witness. And it did feel like this superhuman evolution, I guess. And it was just so beautiful to see. And she's doing just like remarkably good. And I just, and so anytime I have lines for like Dead to Me, that I have to memorize, she memorizes them with me, or she helps me memorize them. So I run my scenes with her. And while I'm doing it, she gives me really, really good direction. And so a lot of my good moments in the third season of Dead to Me are kind of ideas that she had. These weren't really my own ideas. I stole them from my daughter. So it's just this beautiful thing where the realization that as a parent that, they teach you as much as you teach them sometimes. And I think that's kind of a superhuman attribute.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. I'm still I don't think I fully processed that we've just had a whole conversation. So
that is so nice of you to say. And I really mean it. And this was just as wonderful for me. And I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. You made my day. And This was nice. I'd love to chat with you whenever you want to. That was really, really nice.
I'd love that. You made my day, so I'd love to talk with you anytime.
Well, let's do it again sometime.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay.
Well, everyone
All right.
made my day, and I know it was great for all the kids here to see you and hear you guys chatting as well. Thank you so much for spending so much time with us, and we'll catch up with you later.
Absolutely. Have a great day. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.